Hello, it's a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the Galarian Weezing as a Shadow variant. This Pokemon is currently only available, so when you watch this video, hopefully it's already 10 AM for the 26th of September in your country. Only after 10 AM, by the way, you please evolve this Pokemon. You need to have basically a Shadow Coughing in order to get this Pokemon. Currently, unannounced, actually, which is really good for you as well, there are Shadow Coughing raids coming up right now as a 1-star raid at 11 AM your time when the event starts as well, throughout most likely the entire event. So you are going to be able to get this Pokemon from raids as well, to have it for the Go Battle League. Of course, stats are not as good as, for example, mine are here, even though the CP are not as great there, but still, Shadow Galarian Weezing is going to be one of the Pokemon for sure that is going to be something that you want to have. Also on the ranking system, it looks like it is a better Pokemon than the normal variant of it. And so for sure, try to pick one up, try to evolve one. But not only this, you can also evolve your normal Coughings if you have not a good AV Galarian Weezing as the normal variant. And so for sure, go into your storage now, try to get this Pokemon because I can tell you already, it is a very good Pokemon. So, the team that we have here, I kinda randomly threw things together, didn't really have time to build things, but the team itself worked out super well. Like, there's still, like, well, let's say I didn't really have time to build a good team or whatever. There's still a lot of reason and logic behind this team. You're going to have a weakness to especially Mud Slappers with your lead there. Like, Weezing's biggest weakness is kind of Mud Slappers in this meta. Even Pokemon like Meloma, which is like the best Psychic-type Pokemon right now, still has a weakness to the Fairy typing of the Galarian Weezing. And so, it is not really that difficult, especially as Weezing resists both a Charge move of Meloma. And so, the only real weakness for this Pokemon right now, I would say, is really that ground typing. Ground typing is quite a difficult one for it. Funnily enough, against steel type Pokemon, which are quite rare, you barely have any charge moves or even damage that is steel typing, so like that weakness doesn't really matter too much anyway. And you have Overheat here in order to counter those steel type Pokemon. Overheat is on this Pokemon here for the main reason that I just don't have charge gems. So yeah, play rough most likely would be a bit better. There was one battle where Overheat definitely came in clutch, so yeah, we're gonna see that here today as well, but this battle is also one that we can win. Moving on to the next opponent, we're going to start off with a great lead. We're going to have the Wigglytuff against us in lead and they swap out into the Feraligatr. Feraligatr is going to be a Pokemon that I would have the answer in the back, of course, of Chestnut, but I was kind of a bit lazy and didn't really want to use a shield here, so I rather decided to go into my own Feraligatr, which can resist basically any charge move unless they're running Crunch, which is very, very rare, and I will be able to still realign myself without a problem while maintaining the same amount of shields than the opponent. So that is the main reason why I went into my Water-type Pokemon instead of my Grass-type Pokemon against the opponent's Water-type Pokemon, because they have access to the move Ice Beam. And in hindsight, maybe this was a mistake. I think it was a bit of a mistake. I think I should have went into my Chestnut, because what I didn't think about is, if I use a shield, I will end up farming them all the way down and would have most likely 2 charge moves stored against that Wigglytuff, and that would have been great as well. So in hindsight, I think this was a mistake by me. I had a better matchup with the Feraligatr against the Dugong here as well, and I just didn't really think about using the energy that Chestnut can generate against the opponent in that specific matchup. So again, here, maybe it would have been better to just go into your Chestnut against something like a Weezing, because honestly, against Chestnut, there's barely any Pokemon that can really resist both of the charge moves from this thing. Most of the Flying-type Pokemon, which would resist both of those moves here, are gone from the meta, and so it is definitely a Pokemon that I think is quite interesting right now to use. Chestnut, very strong Pokemon for sure, and here, sadly, we're gonna lose this battle, but I think it was very winnable if I just played it a bit better. And here we're going to have our nemesis against us. We're going to have the Marowak in the lead, which is horrible for our Pokemon there in the lead as well. But what we have is we're going to have in the back our Chestnut. Taking a look at the typing of Chestnut, Fighting and Grass, is going to be able to resist both the typings of, at least the charge moves of the, and also of course the fast move with that one, of the Marowak, because Marowak is running ground and rock type coverage. Rock types like cannot really hit the fighting type Pokemon, and ground type Pokemon are very weak to a grass type Pokemon, and so we're going to have a great matchup there. And what we also kind of need though is realignment, and so I will decide to use a shield here against the opponent's Ferrothorn, trying to go for the full farm down here, but they actually decided to swap out into their Marowak themselves. And as you can see, I did not go for the charge move because I know I have this great matchup in the back, and I think it was more worth it for me to go ahead and keep that energy for later on and just kind of try to rely on the typing of my Chestnut. Issue here is, I did not think that Marowak does not really care about the typing. Like, look at the damage output. What is this? Like, we are resisting basically every hit from them. We do super effective damage with our fast move. They actually use a shield here, which I found quite interesting. But we're going to be able to still align ourselves while having shield advantage, while still having a charge move stored on the Feraligatr. And this charge move is going to come in clutch here immediately. We're going to go straight for the Hydro Cannon to put them into a range where one Brutal Swing should be enough to knock out the Drapion. And with this, we're going to be in basically a perfect spot to win this battle here, as another Brutal Swing is coming through. This is going to be enough for sure to knock them out after that Orchidea is going to land here. And then they only have one Pokemon left that's very, very low already. And so we are going to be easily able to win this battle here, as the opponent's Ferrothorn has no play at all. Moving on to the next opponent, let's see what they're going to have. This is kind of one big issue for this team. It's going to be Talonflame, and maybe I should have just played this matchup a bit differently. I decided to go for 7 fast moves here, which is ideal for the scenario, getting a ton of energy, going for one Brutal Swing. But as the opponent lets me go for another Brutal Swing here, I was kind of thinking maybe it is ideal to actually let the move go through. Kind of not really want to take Weezing in there for longer than it needs to have, because like now at this point the opponent has 100 energy, and like 100 energy means 2 flies. 2 flies means death for any kind of Pokemon that we have here. And now I can have to hope that Feraligatr is going to be great against whatever they have in the back as well. They are going to decide to stay in for a bit, but then swap out into the Toxapex, and this is the one big weakness and the main cause of any losses that I had with this team is just Toxapex. Toxapex is ridiculous to deal with here. I was hoping that they go for the Brain Bait. If you're wondering why I tried to catch a Sludge Wave on a Grass-type Pokemon, I just thought they might go for the Brain Bait, which they didn't, and this kind of course, puts me even back further. But Toxapex is just very tricky for this team to deal with. Don't really know how to solve the problem. There is sadly no good Grass and Ground-type Pokemon. There's no good Grass and Psychic-type Pokemon. And there's no good Grass and Electric-type Pokemon, so it is just difficult to really cover that weakness there. Taking a look now at the next battle, we're going to have Nazumara on the lead. And you might think, oh, that's a great matchup, you have a Poison type against a Fairy type Pokemon, lovely. Looking over our charge moves, again, we kind of would have liked to have Play Rough. I don't have charge DMs, so I kind of have to keep them. Like, I have like 5 charge DMs, I cannot really risk rerolling the moves the entire time, especially as Weezing, I think, has like 2 more moves to learn with Hyper Beam and Sludge, so that's a bit tricky. But we're just going to keep all the energy that we have here on our Weezing for a later day. Most likely we're going to be able to find a Pokemon where the charge moves are going to be neutral, and then we're going to be able to do massive amounts of damage against whatever is in the back for the opponent. Here I tried to knock them out there, but they survived with like 5 HP in a dream or something. I was hoping that this would be a knockout. One more fast move is all it takes to knock them out here for sure. But this was kind of unfortunate because I would have really liked to not take that move from the opponent. But in the back we're going to encounter Sableye. And here's the funny thing about Sableye. Sableye nowadays is way more common as a Shadow variant, which was never the case before. But since Power Gem got buffed, this Pokemon is way better like this. And here's where the one battle where Overheat kind of came in clutch, because you're going to be able to hit that Cloudslayer for some very nice neutral damage. But what I want to say about the Sableye is basically the Chestnut is a perfect answer to the charge moveset of this Pokemon. It is one of the best answers in general for the Sableye now, which is kind of hilarious just because the normal variant, which would have access to Return, is not as common anymore just because of the buff to Power Gem. Here, if you're wondering why I decided to go for this charge move, I was wondering if the opponent tried to trick me here by going for an Earthquake and then still having Sludge Bomb. We will never know, but of course Sludge Bomb would do super effective damage, but yeah, the Earthquake would have done resisted damage, or Stone Edge would have done resisted damage. But anyway, we are going to be able to easily win the battle, and we can now move on to the next opponent. Yeah, what can I say? It is what it is. Toxapex is just very, very difficult. It is very, very difficult. There is not really anything that I can say about this matchup. We can still at least do something here. Like, it's not the worst matchup for our lead, like for sure not. It's also not the worst matchup for the Pokemon in the back. It's just like every single Pokemon loses to this. And this is the thing which I don't like about Go Battle League. The importance of bulk is ridiculous. Like, bulk is like so mandatory in a lot of cases where just bulky Pokemon have like such a big advantage over not bulky Pokemon. But yeah, we're gonna get them now. I decided to use a shield here. And they have a Pokemon in the back here with a Dugong, which I think is fine for us maybe. But there's another Pokemon in the back here, which is an old favorite of a lot of people. And it's a Pokemon that I have not seen in ages, but We're gonna see it very, very soon here, I have to say. And yeah, we're gonna be able to go for one charge move here against the opponent. It's going to be the Frenzy Plant. We're gonna see the opponent going for a charge move here to knock me out. They are actually, I think, undercharging it here a bit, knowing that I don't get the charge move down there. I think that would have knocked me out any other way. But yeah, now it's down to Feraligatr. There's a Pokemon in the back, spoiler alert, that's going to be good for Feraligatr. And so the battle is not over here. But it is also not looking good at all, I have to say. Because as you can see, the opponent can still go for a charge move. We're likely going to be a drill run, doing a ton of damage. And now, yeah, we neither have charge move, like we neither have shields here, but there's going to be a Bastion lurking in the back. A Pokemon that I actually kind of really want to take a look at as well again, because I think it's a cool Pokemon to run. But yeah, good game to the opponent. Crazy that this team even works. Why do I say it's crazy that this team even works? Any Mud Slapper, which we see here literally next to it, would destroy the team that we just saw. Like any kind of Mud Slapper. Yeah, of course, there's Dugong that would have access to some Ice-type moves, but a Gastrodon doesn't really care too much about it, and if you're going to encounter a Mud Slapper in lead, you usually have a loss with the team that we just encountered, so interesting that worked. Like, I'm not gonna, of course, complain about it or whatever. Cool to see Bastion again, but yeah, very interesting that it works with that double weakness to Mud Slappers. I know also Toxapex can take some hits and still most likely get the shield from Mud Slappers, but they can just fully farm me down. So like it is, of course, there's still ways or whatever around it, but I was kind of curious on how things like this actually even work. Anyway, we're going to be able to get the knockout here against that Greninja, which is cool. We're going to be able to swap out straight away against the Mud Slapper as well into our Chestnut, but they have sadly a hard answer on the back in the Drapion. Golurk, Drapion, Greninja, interesting team here for sure. Of course, hard counter to our team, like hard counter to our team the entire way through basically. I was using a shield here, just hoping that they, yeah, because I was kind of hoping that they wouldn't have Such Bomb, but I definitely had to make sure that they didn't have Such Bomb. And so I decided to go ahead and go for a Frenzy Plant here. Hindsight should have not really done this, should have went for the Superpower after they went for this crunch. But I didn't also know when the opponent would throw the charge move, so here I'm gonna get the shield. I can go into my Weezing, and yes, I am going to be able to take a hit here with a Shadow Punch, and I am going to be able to take them out with that next move. But here's the thing, Weezing is not going to be able to outspeed the Drapion. Drapion is going to be able to go for a charge move here, and my Chestnut is just a bit too low, and so maybe there would have been a way of winning this battle if I went for the Superpower and they went straight for the Crunch before that, but I didn't know, and like we can just move on to the next opponent. Honestly, the amount of Melamar that I encountered here is quite mad. Like, a lot of people are liking to run Melamar apparently. We have a ton of lag here as well. Weak Connection, that's great, isn't it? I love some Weak Connection for myself. We're going to be able to go for the Brutal Swing here, which is going to get them into a range where another Brutal Swing is going to be enough to knock them out. Again, we have the benefit, at least, that all charge moves other than Hyper Beam from the Melamar, which actually I faced recently. I faced someone running a Hyper Beam on Melamar. It's going to be fine for us. We're going to be able to take that foul play with 1 HP and still get to a Brutal Swing, and still, most likely, gonna get that knockout here, so that's going to be lovely. We have a shield advantage, we have switch advantage, we have a Dugong against us, we can go ahead and go into our Chestnut, and the opponent is still not in a bad spot. A lot of more Dugongs coming up nowadays, but what we can do next is we can swap out into our Feraligatr. Feraligatr is going to be fine, but they swap out into their Bombers and just forfeit because they don't most likely know where they're swapped out there either. Oh, look at this, a Dragapult. There's going to be a video coming around Dragapult on this channel as well very, very soon. I'm going to be away starting tomorrow, by the way, for the weekend in Dortmund, but I have some stuff produced for you, so yeah, definitely going to be still content coming up during that time. We're going to see a Breaking Swipe against us, and that's the cool thing about this matchup for us. We are going to be able to have a great matchup against Dragapult. We can go for another Brutal Swing here, get the knockout, and again, we have a shield and switch advantage, and we're going to see an Araquanid. I would say Araquanid is a very interesting Pokemon. I definitely would say it's a very interesting Pokemon in the current meta. Being able to resist basically every charge move from Dugong, from the Feraligatr, being able to do super effective damage against Melamar, being able to do super effective damage against most of the Grass-type Pokemon. I would say it's a very interesting Pokemon. Yeah, definitely a Pokemon that I think is having some potential in the current meta. And yeah, Bubble Beam and Bug Buzz, definitely interesting moves for sure on this Pokemon as well. So yeah, very interesting Pokemon. I like this one. Anyway, we got to see the Hakoma over here. And this thing is not going to enjoy the Ice Beam. Ice Beam is going to now knock them out. And yeah, it's down to, sadly, that Araquanid against our Chestnut. And we're going to be able to win this battle. And this is going to be it for this video. Again, I would really appreciate it if you leave a like and subscribe. It is free and it helps me out. And I will see you then. Bye bye.